I'm Nathan.
And I'm Bobby.
This could be a
Podcast.
This is like a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find like this whole thing about like communism like coming back? I find it like so odd. Like
It seems like a thing that comes back in history. Like it seems like we've been battling communism, but sometimes a communist country has been our ally in incredible ways. Like we would not have won World War II without Russia. Like
right.
so
right.
And then all of a sudden after World War II is done, communism is horrible and it's going to overtake, and it's the threat of it overtaking democracy. This is the weird professional wrestling thing I've never understood with communism and democracy. Like that there's a switch that's like two countries are just fighting to flip the switch, and it's just back and forth. And if communism overtakes, then it's going to be, bread lines and poor and poverty. But if democracy,
the whole domino effect of if North Korea has its way, it's going to be a domino effect in the Southeast, and it's gonna eventually find its way to our doorstep. I don't know.
That was one of the rationales to get into Vietnam, is the spread of communism and everything. But I mean, when you're looking at modern day North Korea, no one in this country really knows what that looks like. No one, I mean, even in high level parts of the government, even knows what actual North Korea looks like.
Yeah, because you can't get in there, man.
Yeah, there is the conspiracy theory that it is a CIA country. Basically, it's just a CIA created country. But I haven't done too much research on that one to talk.
Yeah,
in
some real prison planet stuff there.
Yeah, which is an interesting thought. I mean, definitely not a real possibility.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know.
But you don't know. That's the whole thing about
it. Well, you're 100% correct. Nobody can know for certain whether or not aliens dropped us off on this planet as a way to self-isolate only the violent people. You're right.
Is that a theory too?
Yeah, that's the whole prison planet.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, aliens put us here because we're the violent people.
Oh, that's fun.
And
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was just going based on like a general general plot of a prison planet.
Yeah. No, yeah. They're like, hey, these are the bad people. These are the bad so-and-sos. So we'll put them here on this planet. And that's why we're all violent. And
gotcha.
Why we,
Yeah, South Park had a great joke about Earth being a reality show that was going to get canceled and they were going to blow up Earth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That was a funny joke, but
you
don't watch South Park, so.
Was it funny? Was it funny?
Oh, yeah. Very funny. Are you looking forward to South Park coming back?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't know, too much going on. I gotta, do all kinds of other things.
You don't like their social commentary, do you?
That's not it at all. I mean, every time I've heard anything, I've laughed.
Mm-hmm.
I think, they're very good about poking fun at absolutely everybody and pointing out hypocrisy and pointing out absurdity of people's actions and beliefs. And it's like, that's great.
Yeah.
And it's very, I would say, very even-handed, and everybody kind of gets their comeuppance.
Yeah. Even South Park.
Even South Park does?
They have that great joke about they want Stan and Kenny want to get their money back from watching The Passion of the Christ because it was a snuff film, and they're like, "Come on, we're gonna get our money back. It's just gonna be like the time we saw basketball." Yeah, so they make fun of themselves.
But basketball is great.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's
really good.
It's really good. It's really good, but it's not going to stop them from making fun of themselves.
Is it better than the Idiocracy? That's the question.
Is basketball better than Idiocracy?
Yeah.
Well, Idiocracy has turned out to be a documentary, whereas basketball is still a fictional movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think basketball would.
I'm curious if I go back and rewatch. It's been a couple of years since the last time I watched Idiocracy. How much of that holds up?
I remember I did show my wife a little bit of it. I think it was falling asleep because it was too late to start the movie kind of thing. Not necessarily an interest-based falling asleep.
And then you're like, oh, man, Beef Supreme. That's one of the Wilson brothers.
Yep. So, I mean, it's a great movie. What I think that was great about Idiocracy is that it wasn't a major hit. Like, it kind of went under the radar.
Well, because it wasn't marketed.
It wasn't, yeah.
It wasn't marketed at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who made, was that Fox or Universal? I don't remember who it was. I think it was Fox.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we don't like, this is making fun of a majority of our like livelihood between our television shows or the sponsors that we want on our television shows. We can't.
Well, did you see that?
What are we gonna do?
Right. Well, and it's a very interesting commentary on all that stuff, and like a dystopian future about where that could all lead. It's a great little compact story, much like basketball. It's just a compact story about put these characters in this world, and
with
see what they
long
do.
preambles, by the way.
Yeah,
they both have long preambles.
They do.
To it.
They do. But that allows you to set them up in the world.
Yeah,
that allows you to get to know the character beforehand. But did you see Judd Apatow's comments about being able to how do you put it? Like China's purchasing of our silence, I think, is what one of the things that he said about it. Basically, how like pitching a show or a movie or anything like that can be killed because of the interests involved and everything like that. So he made an analogy of like, if I wanted to make a movie, if I want to pitch a movie about the Chinese concentration camps and someone that escaped and everything like that, and it's like that would never even leave the pitch meeting. That would be shut down before the pitch meeting because of all the other interests. So going into like why a movie like Idiocracy wasn't marketed versus like all these other narratives.
It was made, but that's the crazy thing.
Yeah,
it was made.
Yeah. And there was a time when those movies were made or like those shows were made and like it's wow, how did that slip through the cracks? Like how did that ever get made? Well, because they didn't have everything tied up. Now everything seems like it's so tied up. It would be incredible if a movie that spoke out against the Chinese government would see the light of day. Would even get the script written.
Right. I don't know how. I mean, I don't understand the complicity of all major media corporations. The NBA, I don't know about the NFL. I don't know if the NFL is really
not as much as the NBA. The NBA is the
talk
North
about
Star
kowtowing.
Yeah.
That's whew.
Yeah.
That's bad. Mm-hmm. How are you guys, do you not see this? How like absolutely hypocritical this is? And just the idea of like, I don't know, Mulan. Are you familiar with Mulan?
I saw that it came out.
Yeah. So
how much were they charging for Mulan?
$30. $30 for a movie that if you have a Disney Plus subscription already, you'll be able to watch for free with your Disney Plus in December. Like, so that's a tall order, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. And from everybody's account, it wasn't very good.
How dare you say that?
Well, no, I'm just like, it wasn't good. Like, especially comparatively, like it's, hey, they're trying to do some different things with a different tone, trying to make a little bit more serious of a action movie out of Mulan. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great, but you're still missing like heart, stuff like that. Likable characters, stuff like that.
I've always said you need a likable character in a movie or a TV show.
Right.
One of the two.
Right. And then, just the idea that they filmed in the district where like the Uyghur the Uyghur camps are. Yeah. And just like, hey, thanks to this province for having us film like in the credits. And it's like,
have you seen any of that footage? Any like the drone footage that people have gotten?
Oh, like a little bit. Like just like literally in passing. It's not something I've really delved into.
It's very shocking.
Yeah, they're concentration camps. Yeah. Like it's bad.
That's the thing with everything going on.
Like, says the guy with an Apple phone in his pocket,
Well, here's the other thing too. So I was talking with my wife the other night about like when we're going through all these and we're judging people, from 200 years ago and the decisions they made living in the world they lived in. So we're judging, people that own slaves and everything like that and saying, oh, if I were there, I never would have done that. I never would have done that. Right. But it was in defense of them living when they live, not even just their actions, just them living when they live.
Yeah.
That was something that happened. Like you also used to like shit outside all the time. And like, but I'm like, what is the thing in 200 years that people will look back on this generation and be like, those sons of bitches, can you believe what they did? And then it came to me. I was like, it's our fucking phones. It's the phones that people are on when they're complaining about, Thomas Jefferson owning slaves or anything like that. They're railing against him, but you're using a device that was made by people that get paid $0
right.
and want to kill themselves, and they have nets to stop people from jumping out a window, and you don't give a shit. So in 200 years, I could totally see people being like, yeah, wow, those people. It's like they removed slavery like 1 degree. Like, I don't own a slave.
Yeah.
Apple employs people that like basically treat them however they want. So if I remove myself, 2 degrees from it, I'll buy it, of course, right? But if I remove myself from it, somehow I'm not complicit in the act of human rights violations.
Right. I don't know. Am I in, like, I don't know.
That's a question, though. But that's the thing, is we can all agree that owning another human being to do your bidding is wrong, right?
Speak for yourself.
Okay.
That's a joke. I don't own
It's a joke.
people.
We don't own people.
I have 5 kids.
Okay. That's his slavery.
They're the worst. They're the worst manual labor I've ever come across. And
I've seen pictures
I'm
of
thinking
you.
about me as a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
But yes, on the side, that's a part of it as well. But most people don't even think about it.
Right.
Most people don't think
Right.
about a lot of times too, it's children doing the work, of making your phones and making your shoes and all this other stuff that they do. I mean, it's not necessarily an open secret, but I find it ironic when we were talking about just judging people from a different time. Like, again,
right.
I don't think people take into account, and it's not that, again, you have to like clarify everything like 15,000 times. It's not that you're justifying their actions, but can you have some type of, not empathy, but just.
It's close to that. It's adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like, I remember that was a Dan Carlin hardcore history podcast where he was talking about, just like brutal executions in like around Christianity in like the 1500s in Germany. And it's just like, now I know all of you will think that, if you were there, you would stop. You would, object to all of this. But here's the thing. You wouldn't. You'd be in there. You'd be cheering for blood, saying, let's go down to the square and see some guys get their heads cut off.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, because that's what I grew up with. I grew up with people getting their heads cut off. I grew up with people being, beaten to death. I grew up in an era where it wasn't shoved in my face 24/7 that the products that I own were made with cheap slave labor.
Well, then you're asking people to have this revolutionary idea and then to decide with their life that this is what I'm going to basically die for. I'm going to make a decision at whatever age I'm at. I'm going to have this belief and I'm going to make it known. I'm going to make it my life's work to change this societal practice, whatever it is, which is asking a lot of any human being for one person, right? It's like, we don't look at Martin Luther King and say like, it was his responsibility to solve racism in this country, right? We don't do that. He is a figure in racial equality in America, but it by no means is it his responsibility to fix racism in the world. Like, and it took a lot of sacrifice for him to do what he did, and he was under immense scrutiny for standing up for his belief. It's a very rare, hard thing for anybody in any generation ever to do. And so to ask a majority of people, or just to think that you would be that person, is really, I think, misguided. I don't think it's an easy thing to do, and I think it's a lot easier for people to believe that they would do it back in 200 years ago.
I'd be an abolitionist, and I'd be.
Nope, probably wouldn't, because it's really fucking hard, and
it's weird when your life's on the line, how much you'd be willing to give up.
Right, you're right. And it's like tangentially, just to make an analogy that's maybe a little easier to palate, but like being famous, like so many people want to be famous, but there are so many people that when they become famous realize that fame is so much worse than what.
It's a weird double-edged sword.
It's a huge double-edged sword, and so. To get that fame and how you got that fame, because not everyone's like in control of how they got famous,
That's a thing.
So those are things where, you'd be like, oh, if I were famous, I'd be so happy. I would never do that. It's never like, people don't understand that when you're in this world, when you're in a famous world, or you're even in the world you're in right now, like you're making things that I put you under a microscope, I can scrutinize every little thing you do.
Yeah.
Especially now with social media.
I'm gonna fall apart under pressure. I'm not gonna lie, Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna be good.
you're not getting waterboarded.
I'm gonna crumble.
Yeah.
When they start lifting behind the curtain.
Yeah.
What's going on in my history?
Well, get ahead of it. That's what I would recommend. Get ahead of it.
So blackface, never did it.
Congratulations. I mean, that's good. The amount of people that have done it, it's kind of crazy.
It's interesting. Like, for me, did I tell you? I don't remember the story of like ninth grade having to recall like a historical event.
Yeah.
Did
and
I
you
do that
wanted to? Yeah.
Well, no. So we did. Like, we did O.J. Simpson, and my buddy, he was O.J.
Yeah.
And this was Southern Iowa, all white kids,
Mm-hmm.
and he did it in blackface. And at no point did anybody ever say, "Well, that's a bad idea."
Mm-hmm.
Just because it wasn't something, I barely had a concept of who Al Jolson was.
Mm-hmm.
I had just because I had a record, because I'm like, oh man, this is some weird stuff right here. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And I knew that Jazz Singer was like the first talkie. Yeah. So, I was a film person. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about, you're going to get yourself in some trouble with that lisp there.
No, that's a condescending tone.
Okay.
That's an uppity tone. Not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not derogatory.
It's not derogatory.
It's just it's an uppity tone.
It's uppity.
So most people with a lisp are uppity. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
You're not going to do well when you get put to the fire. No, you're not.
It's gonna
be bad. It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna crumble. It's gonna be bad.
Almost 30 episodes of this podcast they're gonna be able to point to.
They're like, whoa! What is this, and this?
Uh-huh.
And you had some weird ideas about ladders here too.
But it becomes one of those things though where if people don't have an empathy, or I know there's another word that we just can't think of right now that's tangential to empathy, but where you're not being scrutinized the way that you're scrutinizing other people. Right. And it's really easy to do it from a distance, or, to be in a group think of saying like, oh yeah, whatever you say, I totally agree with. And then just that echo chamber of everyone agreeing. Cause I remember, Louis C.K. when he came into town, he had a little great joke about, it was all after his scandal and everything like that. Yeah. But he had a great joke about everyone knowing what he was into sexually, and like kind of how isolating that is in the world. He's like, most people don't have their sexual exploits known to the general public.
Right.
And he's like, then he did like this funny, like pointing to himself and everything with that. But some people and everyone knows about it, and how isolating of a world that would be. And you see, I get to my point without saying, without defending his actions or commenting on his actions.
How dare you?
But it's an isolating world being famous. Like your everything you do is scrutinized, whether it's good or bad, and anything in between.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I like hearing. I like the concept of, money just exaggerates everything about you. So if you're a good person before, you'd just be a really good person. If you were a shitty asshole, well, that's just going to exacerbate.
You don't think money changes you?
No, I think money just makes things like pluses your, I can do whatever.
100% across the board. Like, you don't think there's room for people that get money and become assholes?
I think that there's people who are petty assholes, and then they get money and they become more of a petty asshole. For the most part. I don't know. I guess not having been around a lot of people who didn't have money and then now have money. Mm-hmm. I don't.
Well, in the way of growing up with it, I think you're right. Like people, you isolate yourself. You live in a world that very few people are familiar with.
Right.
When growing up with money, like you can totally become an asshole not without realizing it, but you're surrounded by other people that already have money, and then you're just playing a different game versus it is more rare to find somebody that doesn't have money and then comes into money, and then that's your experience with them.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus meeting somebody that's
There's
had
not,
money.
There's not a lot of rich folk down where I'm from. How about that?
There's farms. Farmers can be rich.
Not a lot. Not a lot. Even though they're owned a lot of property, now it's maybe a little bit more. Maybe like when they sell their kids, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, no. They were all,
Because I now that I'm thinking about it, I agree with your sentiment that most people that are good before they have money,
yeah,
when they get money, maintain some level of
Chris Pratt.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Friend of the show,
Chris Pratt.
Hey, speaking of, actually, hold on. Now I've got friend of the show. This actually reminds me because I did totally forget. We checked in on our Dwyer Brown situation.
Yeah, Chris Pratt's not on Cameo.
Chris Pratt is not on Cameo. His career is going too well to get to Cameo yet. But so I did pay $40 and sent Dwyer Brown a message, and he got back to us. Can I play it for you?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. This is the most in-depth research we've done for the podcast here.
Oh,
so
yeah, Dwyer Brown.
He got back to us, and there's a couple things in it that I thought were just real feathers in our cap. And if I could somehow get somebody on that's listening to the podcast just to put in quotes on our Apple Podcast review, just Dwyer Brown's quotes,
that'd be great.
That'd be great. I'm not going to do it. I want it to happen organically, but this is Dwyer Brown getting back to us on Cameo.
If you build it, he will come. Oh, hi. Bobby, Nathan, this is Dwyer Brown. I played John Kinsella in the movie Field of Dreams, but you already know that. This is probably the most strange and interesting cameo that I've gotten because you're sort of interviewing me. All right, so favorite bar or restaurant went to while we were making the movie?
That was the question.
Well, in the first place, obviously Dubuque has changed quite a bit. I stayed at a Best Western in Dubuque that is no longer there.
He's right.
Kevin stayed at the, I think, what is it called, Flying Eagle or Eagle's Nest?
Eagle Ridge, which is delightful.
Golf course that's, I think,
delightful.
Just east of Galena with his family. Let's see, we went to a bowling alley because we actually started a bowling league while we were there. The guys from the coasts were, I think, bored while they were in Dubuque and Dyersville. So anyway, we had the Shoeless Joe Bowling League. We had shirts made that were embroidered. We had fake bowling names. My name was Lou.
Great inside
So
baseball.
we hung out there. When we were done there, sometimes we would go over to the dog track, which I don't even know if it still exists there, but I had never seen greyhounds run, but the whole gang of us would go over there and bet our per diem money on the dogs. After that, we would go to whatever bar. I cannot think of one in particular in Dubuque that we went to. It was a completely different place. There's so many cool places now with the Hotel Julian and all those restaurants down in that little strip. But when we closed the bars in Iowa, we'd go across the Mississippi to East Dubuque. You must know it was that little den of iniquity. And
Lovely.
Gosh.
Is that the name of our East Dubuque show?
There were a bunch of bars over there, and we would just bar hop.
Yes.
Kevin would come with us, and while we were there shooting the movie, Bull Durham came out, so he was, very popular, and girls would just kind of surround him, and pretty soon we would all leave and go to another bar. I don't know. Diamond Jim's sounds like a name I remember, but I'm not sure. Let's see, where else? Well, gosh, I've been to Dyersville lately. I love the new textile brewery. And I've been to several of those restaurants on the strip down there in Dubuque. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I have a question of my own. Bobby, Nathan, you want to have a catch?
So, okay. I don't want to say it's the best $40 I've ever spent, but I totally got my money's worth from this.
You got your money's worth.
I was expecting 30 seconds, maybe.
A lot of inside baseball, little things, little behind the scenes.
Well worth the money, and I think the feathers in the cap are the strangest and most interesting question I've received on Cameo. That means we made
right
a little bit of his day.
How many people have viewed him on Cameo?
Gonna have a whole nother Cameo episode here.
I can't have 2 Cameo episodes in a row, guys. They said not to. I like how it's like, try Christina Milian. Do I want to... Hey, remember Christina Milian from AM to PM? That great song?
Mm-hmm.
Dwyer Brown.
I just like to think that Dwyer Brown woke up one day and received this information. And he's like, oh, Cameo, another Cameo. I got to do another Cameo.
Yeah.
Is it what, like a birthday or an anniversary? What is it? I don't know. What is it? I got to figure it out. And he's like, oh, wait. Best bar or restaurant while recording Field of Dreams. Huh.
All right, Bobby.
Oh, I'm going to think about this a little bit. Hold on 1 second. So I like that we gave him that little bit of just a mix up in the day.
Just a little bit of self-reflection in the morning.
Right. Because he totally did this in the morning.
Dwyer Brown has 35 reviews.
35. One of them is ours.
Did you give him 5 stars?
Of course I gave him 5 stars. That was a 5-star. If I could give him 6, I would.
So 34 other people. Hold on, I got to do the math.
In America.
Got to do the math here real quick. 35 times 40. Dwyer Brown has made $1,400 off of Cameo.
So I have
at least.
I have a running bit that I want to do.
Okay.
I wanted to. We can take it in 2 directions, or we can do both. But I just want your thoughts.
Okay.
So basically, I want to spend $40 a week sending Dwyer Brown questions until he comes on the show, just keep asking him follow-up questions based. So we'll ask him another follow-up question based on this. I want to know who won the bowling league. He also says in this video that Kevin Costner stayed at Eagle Ridge with his family, but then when they go to East Dubuque, all the girls would be all over him.
Yeah, that's
so. Was there any infidelity?
Oh yeah, infidelity. That's a real problem.
I mean, I don't want to put infidelity necessarily on Costner because I don't know. He could have an open relationship with his wife. I mean, she's married to Costner, for Christ's sake.
Right.
So,
I mean, I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not going to tell you how to live your life in your own house and everything like that. But I have follow-up questions, basically. So I'm wondering if it would be $40. If we keep getting gold like that, it's going to be worth the money for sure. Right. But I'm just wondering how long do you think we'd have to go until Dwyer Brown says, stop sending me your money?
How many? I can't in good conscience continue
to
take
10 weeks in a row. You guys have spent me $400.
I can't take your money, Bobby. I just can't. Yeah. Or maybe he'll just happily take the money and then he'll buy us a beer when he comes to town next time.
So I want to go down that road. Okay.
I want to be able to just, and that's what rich people do. They just throw their money at weird cameos.
Are you saying I'm rich? I'm not rich, but I have $40 to spend a week.
You have $40 a week? Jeez, Bobby.
I don't have kids.
I had no idea. Oh, I don't have children.
I don't have dependents. I have a dog and 3 cats.
That allows me to go with such luxuries as
sending Dwyer Brown $40.
Having
so with your permission, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start just sending him.
Yeah.
What's your over under? So we can make this content and stuff for the show. How long before Dwyer Brown says stop it?
Stop. That's a good question.
In my mind, it go 9.5 is high to me. I think if I set it around that, by the time we get to 10, he's like, guys, stop fucking doing this.
I'm gonna say 4.
4.
I'm gonna say 4.
Where it's like a bit, because I wonder. I told him about the show.
Yeah.
Which again, so when we were first listening to it, we did the voice of Zordon from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah.
But in his description, he doesn't do YouTube channels, anything like that. No promotions.
Oh, right.
And I was like, oh shit, I hope that's not the case with Dwyer Brown. Nothing. And I'm
Dwyer Brown's got nothing.
He's got nothing holding him back.
Jeez.
So I was like, cool. We'll send it out. And so when you send it out, you apparently. They have a obligated amount of time to get back to you after they accept it. But the accepting time is all just based on the availability of the person. So Dwyer Brown's was 2 days. Zordon's was 15 fucking minutes. It was crazy. No lie, it was like 15 minutes.
I'm not gonna lie. I still think that like that was that announcement of somebody encouraging that somebody transitioned. I think that's a joke. That was a joke.
Maybe.
I think that was 100% a joke.
Maybe.
What's more likely to happen? I mean, don't get me wrong. In the vast, infinite world that we live in,
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
What's more likely to happen? A group of friends congratulating their friend in transitioning and congratulating him through the voice of Zordon from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or a group of friends being assholes and saying, $15, I'm gonna have the
25.
Oh no, he was cheap. He was 15.
I've looked at it a lot. It's 25, but anyway,
anyhow,
it doesn't matter.
Really?
Yeah.
Saying that's $25. I can definitely say, hey, let's make shit out of Frank here and say that he's transitioning and have the Power Rangers guy say it.
Both are possible, no doubt. Both are more equally possible now, so more than ever, though. So there's that avenue of exploring Cameo. This is just going to be a thing like Celebrity Net Worth and on our show that we're just going to have
exploring Cameo.
So the other thing is,
yes,
I was searching for. I think the $40 price point was perfect.
Yes,
for reasonable expectations. Like I got $40 from it.
Yeah.
What was it? The dude, the sound guy from The Office, and the guy from Silicon Valley.
Oh yeah.
That you sent over for like $300.
Was he $300?
Yeah. Well, and Kevin Dillon for sure.
Kevin Dillon. He was a lot.
He was $300 for sure. And if Kevin Dillon sent me that after I sent him $300, I'd be fucking pissed with lawnmowers in the back and just vague Johnny drama. That would be upsetting to me. But I found 4 other people on Cameo that we're going to throw it out to the audience. We'll put up a Twitter poll.
Okay.
And we'll see how our Twitter followers respond to our Twitter poll.
Okay.
So we're going to do these 4 people, and we're going to ask them the question that you and I have yet to talk about on this podcast. So when we do an interview and when we meet people, one of the things that Nathan and I really like to do is ask, what is your greatest love? Just like right away, early, like you don't even know.
I know nothing about these people.
I know nothing about. I barely know your name.
Yeah.
I have to ask your name again.
So, what is your greatest love? It's really, I don't like small talk. I'm about.
Let's get right down to.
I want to get to brass tacks.
Yes.
I want to get to the emotional core of who you are. Mm-hmm. What is your greatest love?
And to watch people process that question, because they look at it and they're like, "Is that a? Are you fucking with me?" But also, then what is my greatest love?
What is my greatest
see
love?
People, and again, much like I hope that little bit of joy we brought Dwyer Brown, saying like, "Oh,
yeah,
I've never really thought about what my greatest love is. What is that?" And then most people, right? Most people give an answer.
What is my greatest love? I don't know.
Who said sleep? Someone said sleep.
I think maybe my wife.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But so these, I mean, it's a great one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great answer.
I don't know.
What's your greatest love?
I don't think I've got one. Did I say one?
You should have said your wife, but you fucked up that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
So for our listeners here, these are the 4 people that I found that we can, we'll pay for it and we'll ask them what is their greatest love. All right. So first one is Mark Summers. Tremendous value.
Who's Mark Summers?
Mark Summers, the host of Family Double Dare. And
oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Not Good Eats. Unwrapped.
Unwrapped. Yes.
Yeah, Mark Summers. Doug Benson, who's a comedian. He did Super High Me, where he smoked weed for 30 days.
Yeah.
And then didn't smoke weed for 30 days.
Yeah.
Interesting. I would like to see what his greatest love is. Probably weed. Danny Bonaducci from the Partridge Family.
I bet his is like something like the universe.
Yeah?
Because it's, I'm throwing so much love out there and it's throwing it right back at me.
Gotcha.
I imagine that's what Danny Bonaducci
Do you remember his reality show that he had in the early 2000s?
Absolutely not. No.
No. It was a wonderful train wreck. It was really fun to watch.
Geez.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good. That heyday of early reality television show before you realized how much it was ruining society. You're like, oh, this is really good to watch. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I really wish this didn't exist. Anyway, last person, Chris Hansen. From To Catch a Predator, I believe.
Yeah. There's some weird drama going on with him in YouTube, by the way.
What do you mean?
There's there's some problems about like him going after like YouTubers who may or may not be
like stalking them, or
well, like he's tried to.
Is he gone full vigilante? Jesus.
Yeah, no, not quite close, because he's not backed by NBC anymore.
That's where all his power was. He could do that because he was backed by NBC. If he's just doing it by himself, that's a problem.
But then, like, on the first episode of the second season of Amazon Prime's The Boys, he makes a little appearance there. I'm like, oh, I thought Chris Hansen was on the outs. But here he is on...
Well, he's on Cameo, so...
And he's on... I want to say he was pretty reasonable.
All within $40. $50, I think, were the...
That was your range that you were going
for. It took a long time to find
three, four...
categories. Do you have a person that you would like to hear their greatest love?
No,
on that one?
you kind of try to prime that pump, and no, I mean Mia Hamm's 130. So.
No, of the people I just mentioned.
Oh, of the ones.
Do you have a preference? Because I think you're right about like Danny Bonaducci and I think Doug Benson. I think their answers might be pretty canned. Yeah. I kind of want to hear what Mark Summers' greatest love is.
Yeah. Maybe Mark. I mean, maybe Chris Hansen, just because he's got just such a great voice, and I feel like he might
surprise you.
He might bring it, as in like just like emotionally and performance wise. Right. I feel like he might be bringing it a little bit more than Danny Bonaducci.
Right.
I've got a feeling. I mean,
I see what you did there. That's is that a Partridge Family song?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
What was one of their songs? I think.
No, there was a "Come On Get Happy" was their big.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to think of that line.
Listen.
Anyway,
it doesn't matter because I've never seen a single fucking episode of the Partridge Family.
I've seen episodes.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Do you not like Danny Bonaducci because he's redheaded?
No.
Did he set your people back along?
He set my people back. I don't know. Like, I just remember like him like on Bob and Tom, or maybe just like some other Bob and Tom adjacent. Maybe Man Cow.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't remember. I just like
entirely.
It's just like, man, there's just too much Danny Bonaducci.
But he also might surprise you, and then actually, because here's the thing about Dwyer Brown, and I know. Here's the thing about it though. When I opened that up, when I got the email that like he got back, I'm like, okay, let's see how shitty this is. Like, how much are you phoning this in?
Don't tell him that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm just
like your low expectations.
Look, I had low expectations, and for good reason.
I'm a dreamer. I think everybody's gonna knock it out of the park.
But my God, did he bring it? And it was so uplifting to watch him bring it that. That's what sparked everything else. That's what sparked all the other, like, oh, well, let's see who else could bring it. So Danny Bonaducci, it could be 15 minutes later, and I got a 15-minute Danny Bonaducci cameo about his greatest love, like, just because we hit him in the right way.
Him at the right time.
Yeah.
I was really down today. I was really down this morning. And
then you asked what my greatest love was.
And it made me do a lot of self-reflection.
And I always thought about the universe. And
it's like, I think about, my greatest love, and I just started focusing on that word love, and it just rung around in my head for a solid 3 hours. I was just meditating on it, and I could really feel it reverberate inside the universe, and that's when I realized that the universe is love, and love is the universe, and it was really so that's it. That's the greatest love that you can have is the universe, and the universe is going to ring back to you, and it's going to be echoes, and it's going to be reflections, and it's going to be reverberations, and then you got to let that into your soul.
Could very well be that. So, or it could be like deadlifting,
I like deadlifting. I have no idea what Danny Bonaducci sounds like, by the way. Just FYI.
Sounds like every other redheaded person out there. It's a joke. It's a joke. Because I'm belittling your people.
My people? Let my people go. No.
Is that Charlton Heston?
That's my Charlton Heston.
Yeah. So anyway, you would Chris Hansen or Mark Summers would be your preference?
I like the idea of Mark Summers also. I think he'd be an interesting. Once again, I imagine him being incredibly sincere.
That's the thing about Mark Summers where I'm like,
I bet he's sincere.
Doug Benson would be an easy one for him to say weed, I think. But also, he's a comedian, so
right.
I would hope he wouldn't go for that low-hanging fruit.
I'd hope he'd just go, weed, thanks for the $40. See ya. Click.
That would actually be good. That would be really good, actually.
That's it.
That would be good.
Fuck
Weed.
you.
Click.
Oh, do you want me to expound on that? Another $40, asshole.
Yep. Which is what we're
I
going
don't
to. We're going to do that with Dwyer Brown.
It's like, oh, you guys, you need. Don't you have families to feed? What is going on here?
No, only half of our
my
podcast
God.
has a family that they need to
Oh
feed.
no! Well,
My wife has a job. I got a job, and
Oh, you got jobs?
yeah, a podcast.
Oh. Yeah, it's
So those are the two directions I think we're going to go with it, and we'll put it out. We'll see what people say about the one of the four that we just put out. But I will send Dwyer Brown. I can't send Dwyer Brown the "What Is Your Greatest Love." It's too out of left field. No pun intended.
Yeah, no, we're building a relationship with Dwyer Brown.
Correct. We got to ask about, where was the bowling league? Who won the bowling league? Did James Earl Jones play in the bowling league?
That's a good question.
Right?
My question is, which bowling alley was it? Because we're losing bowling alleys left and right here in Dubuque.
Right. And does he want to open a bowling alley with us?
I don't know if he's financially
willing to do
willing
that.
to do that.
Yes. Let's send him $400 over the course of 10 weeks. They really build up a rapport. I always find when you give somebody money over 10 weeks, they really build up a friendship and more of a relationship than if you just send them questions randomly.
And the next thing you know, they want to buy a bowling alley with you. That's
And then we have this really fun thing we can talk about in 10 years. Be like, remember when you were just listening to some assholes from a podcast?
Yeah. You guys sent me $400 to answer some stupid ass questions. Right. And I was really needing that money, and I really appreciate that because that was really a hard time for me.
Every time I came out, I was like, those motherfuckers, they did it again. And part of the reason why I want to do that bit is just, it's not trolling Dwyer Brown. I don't want to troll Dwyer Brown. I just want to put this fantastical world in his brain of like, these two people from fucking why do they keep doing this?
See, what I want is all of our listeners to go hire Dwyer Brown and ask him what his greatest love is. I want him to have
that's a great call to action. That's a great call to action.
I want 20 people to spend $40 on Dwyer Brown.
Please.
He needs it.
But yeah, don't send us money.
Say that.
Don't send us money.
Send Dwyer Brown money.
Send Dwyer Brown money.
And then maybe some to poor kids in Africa.
Well, I'm sure he's a charitable man. But if 20 people sent Dwyer Brown the same "What Is Your Greatest Love" in the same day, just I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Just see like
what the fuck is going on?
Honey, they keep doing it. They
what
keep sending shit to us.
What is going on? Check the Twitter.
Yeah.
Check the Twitter. See what's going on. Is something going on?
Did they re-release Field of Dreams?
What is going on?
Yeah.
Is it everybody getting asked what their greatest love is? Just me? God. Why are people asking me what my greatest love is? Just me and Danny Bonaducci.
Yeah, just me.
What the shit? What's going on?
Sonny, we got a real fun thing. Well, of course they have their numbers. Yeah, Danny
Bonaducci and Dwyer Brown get together.
Yeah.
They're in a bowling league together. Actually, I take that back. They're probably in a golf league together.
That'd be a question we'll have to ask Dwyer Brown.
Are you and Danny Bonaducci in any kind of recreational sports leagues together?
Mm-hmm. Or have been in the past?
Yeah,
I think it's a good running bit. I think we can totally have that happen. And we'll keep everyone posted because I know everyone loved our cameo talk last week or 2 weeks ago. So
everybody's like, man, this cameo, I'm into it.
I loved how you guys talked and looked at the internet. And
I bet that's every episode. They're like, man, I like it when people talk and they look at the internet and they just talk about what they saw on the internet.
It's really fun stories. Speaking of, do you have people in your life that just fucking tell stories that have no beginning, middle, or end?
No, I don't.
You don't?
And I'm happy I don't.
Oh, shit.
I was reflecting on that question. It's just like, that's not something,
I seem to be surrounded by people that just have a story that goes nowhere. And I'm like, what part should I be interested in?
Right. Which part was the interesting part? Because you skipped over it, I think.
Yeah. And I love one pet peeve I have is telling me stories about people I don't fucking know. I don't understand it. It's kind of tied into like showing people a show while I'm in their presence.
Yeah.
Like this never works. This never works.
No.
But it doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, but if I'm telling you a story about people you don't know,
yeah.
How vested are you as a listener? Is it just me selfishly wanting to tell the story?
Here's the thing about Bruce that you don't know. Bruce is a bit of a cad, a real card. So you gotta, think about that when I tell you that he ate most of the pickle dip that afternoon.
Yeah, that son of a bitch.
And then we went and we opened presents for it because it was Janice's baby shower at the office.
Yeah. And she was 6 months pregnant.
She was 6 months pregnant. Her husband, he worked at General Electric for a while, but he doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
Now he works for Wells Fargo.
And he worked with this guy, Bill. And Bill was a real character. Like,
yeah.
And speaking of pickle juice.
Yeah. So Bill and Bill,
it's shit like that. Where I'm, shut the fuck up! Shut up!
I think that bit could have gone on for a little bit longer, but
no, I can hear it, and I can hear the people listening already.
That's ridiculous. No, I hate that. I can't imagine.
I know we kind of talked about it on the podcast too, of sending off vibes of like, okay, I'm gonna politely say like fuck off, like I'm gonna politely just give off the vibes of, yeah, I really don't care, like I don't want to talk about this.
You do that often.
Thank you.
With me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to. But that they don't catch, they don't pick up on it. At least you pick up on it.
I just blatantly ignore it though. That's my big thing. Is just like, I think Bobby. Wait until he get to this good part about how Bill he met a guy who worked at both Wells Fargo and GE, but not at the same time that he did. They kind of flip flop. They kind of two ships passing in the night. Anyway, he's the one who fucked his wife.
And that defeats the purpose because now the story got interesting. Now I care. And maybe that's it. Maybe if you throw in fucking wives more, you're just throwing that out of nowhere.
Yeah. And he was a real cuckold.
Yeah. It's like, wait, what? Bill? This Bill guy I don't know?
Right?
Okay, wait.
Hold on.
Back it
up.
Back it up. I have no...
Whose baby shower was it?
Right, exactly. Now I care.
Now, whose kid is it?
Yeah.
Is it the cuckold or is it the...
Yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe you just need more sexual exploits in your life and everything.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
No, just in the general storytelling, not necessarily.
General storytelling.
Yeah.
Just sexual escapades.
Or just, exciting things that happen. Sexual exploits are generally exciting. But if you pepper that in there, like, so this parent called me the other day and blah, 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 was doing this and this, and then blah, 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 and then they fucked the babysitter. It's like, whoa, wait.
Let's just start with that.
How did that get there? Because I don't care about anything else other than that.
Yeah. So. My wife, she also works in a school and, tell me rough stories of things and people and how people have slighted her. And it's just like a lot of nodding. And it's like, yeah, okay. And I'm sure she does the same thing.
Well,
hey, here's a bunch of people I work with. I can't believe so-and-so did this. And I was doing this today. I was doing that. But I actually ask her what her day is. So...
But that's the thing, though. I think the spousal stories you need someone to vent to, and that's that's part of being in a relationship. Like you kind of take on I'm the wall you're going to talk at, and I'm going to feign interest and be like, oh yeah, or
I can't believe she did that.
I think that's well within the vows of any marriage. Like, it's the people where, again, like at a bar or something like that, where they start telling me a fucking story.
My God!
Like. Dude, you gotta stop. Gotta stop.
At no point am I gonna... When did that happen? Did that happen recently? I feel like... Did that happen recently with us? I can't remember. We're just drunk. Guy wants to start talking about...
Oh, yeah.
Fucking God knows what. And it's like, no, I don't care. Why would you start telling me this?
It was that drunk lady at...
Oh, my God, that's it.
Yeah, drunk white woman.
Yeah, it's just like, you can... at no point do I care what you're saying right now. I'm not actively telling you this, but I am not making eye contact with you, ignoring you as best as I can as you lean up on my shit. Yeah. Fucking go away.
Equipment, not penises.
Not up on my business.
On the business, no. It was on expensive video
I'm
equipment.
just sitting there like putting her like hand on my camera. Like, what are you doing?
As like an armrest. It wasn't just
right.
That's what it was.
Right. It's like, what are you doing?
That's what I'm talking about with like playing shows and everything, playing music shows and stuff. Like you're dealing with multiple women or like just people like that. I'm not going to just put it all on women, but like that's majority of the fact of the women. But that person that walks in and it's like never acknowledge you as wanting to talk to you at all, and you won't leave me alone. You're going to make it really fucking weird and awkward. It's rough. It's very rough.
Yeah.
And start telling you things that, again, you didn't ask for, you don't care to hear.
Right.
And I don't know how else other than to be a dick and be like, I don't need you around. Fucking leave, you know?
I remember one time when I was working for Channel 2 and I was out shooting video for something, you know, and here I am. I've got my big camera and I'm recording stuff, getting my B-roll. And person walks up. Hey, what are you doing? Like, you know, oh, we're doing a story on this and that and the other thing. Oh, you know what the real story is? The real story is how Gary over here has been painting his fence brown and he hasn't been doing the upkeep on it. And I've called the city several times and they've never answered. It's like, no.
Again, do you need to know what a story is?
Yeah. No, stop.
I do think everyone
This
needs
is what the real story is.
Yeah, everyone needs a refresher on what a good story is. A story has a beginning, middle, and end with like events that happen that create other events happening where, you know, this happens, then this happens, and because of that, then this happens. You know, that kind of thing. Where I love watching movies with my wife, but again, she'll most of the time we were rewatching Jurassic Park. I came home and she was watching it and just questioning like why would they do that? Why would you do that? I'm like, it's because if they didn't, it's the most boring ass movie about dinosaurs. Like,
right?
Because if they don't do those things, then they don't put themselves in the predicament where they need to get out of it. Like if they did everything right, it'd be the most boring fucking movie in the world. And not everything can be John Wick, you know?
Right. My dad, he wanted to have a movie. It was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like charging the front lines in a battle. And just slow motion, guns are going off, explosions. And then he just catches a bullet right in the head. And that's... And either like credits roll and or the rest of the time he's just in a coma. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it would be a very different movie.
Well, and I do think I tell it to her all the time. It's like, I want you to write a movie where they do everything right. I want you to write them because I do think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be write the most boring movie where everything they do is the right thing they should have done.
Right.
And you're like, oh, well, we got out of that situation.
Yeah.
You want to grab a bite to eat? And then they go, you know, like there's nothing else to do because you got out of the situation. It's like every
real
scene
slice of life.
Every scene is the end of a movie, basically.
Yeah. For me, I'm because I love movies where like people get paint themselves into bad decisions and are forced to make bad decisions. Like I love how that happens. You know, when you get a bear cornered and you know they have to. The only decision that they can make is bad decisions, and
and
that's what I like.
And I see what you're saying, but I think it kind of beats itself because I do understand what like my wife is saying, where it's you're doing
why
things.
Would you do that?
Why would you do that? You wouldn't actually, because probably there are situations where you could maybe creatively think a little differently, writing wise.
Yeah,
where you can get them to that point differently. I know one of the critiques of Jurassic Park was with the guy that's the raptor. The raptor expert. Why didn't he put a full clip in? Why did he just put one bullet in? It's like because he's gonna die. That's why. Because it's not worth the time to show him loading a gun because he's going to die in the next 5 minutes. But you know, anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Can we talk about how much I hate when the excessive amounts of cocking shotguns are like just ratcheting shells and shotguns?
You don't like it?
No, it's just like. Gus Johnson made a great video about it not too long ago. It was just like literally every 2 seconds, you know, I'm just going to say this for, you know, I'm going to accent my line here. Yeah. And that's what you got to get off my property. It's like,
it's an effective.
Oh, so you didn't have a bullet loaded before it? And then now you do? Okay. And then literally 2 seconds later.
But most people don't know that though. Most people don't know that cocking the shotgun loads the bullet. They really don't.
It's like, what are you doing? I'm not saying I'm an avid gun owner because I'm not, but I understand how guns work.
I don't think a lot of people understand how guns work. That's one of the things with gun ownership or gun rights. Like, most people haven't shot a gun. Most people, at least in America, haven't shot a gun.
Right.
When you do, it's really fun. And even like the staunch, get rid of all guns kind of people, you shoot a gun and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can kind of see how that'd be fun.
Yeah, and being scared of what you don't understand that's an important thing. But yeah, I don't understand. Like, I probably should go down to a range sometime with my wife. I'm sure she'd really love to do that. I mean, I love the idea of going to a range, but
yeah,
I just never have.
That's a fun date night. Take her
down to down on Central, whatever that place is.
There's an indoor shooting range. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, I was fortunate enough to grow up with my grandpa and growing up and like going up on the farm and everything like that. Guns were a part of.
Yeah.
He's a hunter. I only went hunting with him once. I'm not a huge hunter. But the shooting guns and stuff like that was always something you could go do if you wanted to under the right supervision and stuff like that. And always valued the fact that we were able to do that. And there wasn't I wasn't scared of guns. Let's just put it that way,
Yeah. We didn't have guns.
No?
Really. No, like we had an old musket.
So you did have guns.
Yeah, my dad he had
that's a gun.
Like a black powder musket that he got at a rendezvous, like a fur trader rendezvous that he thought he'd.
That's where you would get it.
Yeah. And then we also had a single shot 22 rifle.
So you did have guns. You just described two guns.
That you had. You said guns. That's the bare minimum. But they weren't we weren't gun people. And those two things, they were just around.
My grandma
never shot, really.
So my grandma had I forget what the caliber pistol it was, but she had a special.
It was a 45.
She had an oven mitt in one of her drawers where she kept a gun. And her rationale behind that was, if they ever got kidnapped, or if someone took over the house and everything like that, people would come over and they would hold them hostage for some fucking reason, that at some point they would get hungry and they would need her to make food. So she would go and make food. So then she would reach into the oven mitt and be able to shoot them with the gun that was in the oven mitt. And my uncle, who was married my aunt, so their daughter, he was a musician, and he wrote a country song about how his mother-in-law has a oven mitt, or a gun in the oven mitt. Oh, yeah, geez. But it was always one of those things who's coming after you, Grandma?
This is a weird line. Yeah. I thought,
but it's great imagery though.
How about I just make you up some bacon and eggs here?
Exactly.
I'll just come over here. I'm gonna need
That's
this
not how my
oven mitt.
Yeah. Boom, 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 and you're done.
That's right. You're out of.
Yeah. She was a chain smoker and drank Coca-Cola.
Now your bacon's fried.
Yeah, exactly. But that was always something I was like, well, I guess it's not wrong. It's highly unlikely that you're going to be taken hostage, but
right
in your own home.
It's kind of weird.
But I guess, if that makes you feel better, Grandma, how about it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's super weird. Yeah, I'm only shot a handgun. I don't remember. Did we do that one time? Yeah, we did one time with just over Thanksgiving at my brother's place, and we had he took out his 12 gauge too, and it was his neighbor came over and just cussing and screaming because we were spooking his cattle too much, and it was icy out, and it was
that's reasonable.
Well, it was you told me you're shooting guns. You told me you're unloading a 12 gauge. Just sitting there hooting and hollering. It was hilarious. But yeah, I think we had a handgun. Maybe I think at that time. I don't remember.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever I've shot a revolver. Yeah, before.
I've never shot a revolver.
But we used to have these family reunions that we go to and do, and it'd be on golf course, shooting range, lodge area kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we'd have like stations, basically. Like everyone in the family reunion would go out and like little clusters and stuff, and we'd do the shooting range and stuff.
Oh.
Again, a lot of people that very scared of guns, don't know how to handle guns, don't like the idea of guns. But then when you go out in this very controlled environment with supervision and it's more recreational, then really learn to enjoy it. And because it's really fun. I mean, just a number of stories of people being like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. And then they do it and they're like, oh, yeah, we can keep going. Yeah, absolutely. It's fun.
Do you like roller coasters?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. Why not?
It's not that I won't go on them. It's that I don't need to go on them.
Your life's a thrill a minute as it is. Is that what you're saying?
I've experienced enough roller coasters where I don't know, like, I don't know what would get me to go on a roller coaster again. How about that?
Oh, whoa.
They're like, this one has 15 loops. I'm like, cool. I did one with 4 loops on it before, and I can imagine what it was if there was another 11, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Huh.
What about you?
Hey, I love roller coasters. Yeah.
What makes one roller coaster better than the other or different or a reason to go on it?
I mean, just because, I think they're all, I'd ride anything, really.
Yeah.
It's not like, ooh, this one's got.
I feel like roller coasters are like drugs. Like, there are certain drugs where it's a time and a place, and I'm really happy with the amount of drugs I've done in my life.
Mm-hmm. Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca has never been a drug I did, but I've gotten really close. But the desire to do the drugs in the same way, maybe based on the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that experience. Yeah. I don't understand what other experience I would have that would make doing the drug worth it, basically.
Yeah.
I'm talking like hallucinogenics and everything like that.
Yeah.
Not like weed or anything.
Sure. I think roller coasters are just like, they're fun. They're just, you're fast moving and, getting thrown around. I enjoy that. And just that little bit of panic, just that little bit.
I'd spend the money and go to the shooting range and try to hit BBs and hit the star out of a little piece of paper.
That's impossible, and you know it.
I got really close a couple of years ago.
It's impossible, and you know you can't.
No.
It's not possible.
I actually impressed a Carney a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Really impressed a Carney.
You want to hear that story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, make it a story. It should have a beginning, middle, and end. Now, you got me intrigued. I impressed the Carney.
Yeah, exactly. See, I got you the first. It's not even a bait and switch. It's just bait you,
Yeah.
So we were at the Des Moines, or the Iowa State Fair.
The Iowa State Fair. Gorgeous.
Right?
Wonderful.
Gorgeous, right? So we were there all day. We're going to go see the band Slipknot at the end of the night from Des Moines.
Exciting.
Wonderful time.
Hometown boys. Hometown crowd.
It was great. So we were... This isn't really that good of a story, but...
So you're just strolling around the Midway?
Strolling around. We went to the shooting range 3 different times throughout the day. So every time would be, again...
Same
Carney?
Carney?
I got that fucking close. Yeah, exactly. Same Carney, and I was like, oh, I got so close. All right, another round.
Did he bait you?
Another round.
Did he bait you?
No, I was baiting myself. I was doing it all myself.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it.
Oh, come on now. Yeah, I think you can probably get it this time. Come on back here.
No. It was all me just being like, fuck it. Nope. It's my gambling addiction, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Taking over.
Oh, I can see that.
And I'm like, nope. I almost got it. Another round. Ugh. So we did that 2 different times and then a third time throughout the day. Like, we come back after time and you're like, hey, what's up?
You're just sitting there looking at that butter cow. I could have gotten that fucking thing down.
It was the big stuffed animals. Which, again, are ridiculous to walk around with.
What are you going to do with it?
Well,
going to take it home and just like shove it in a closet? Come on.
Wait for the end of the story here.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Right? So we go for the last round again. The line for Slipknot is fucking massive, and we have to stand in it to get into the place and everything like that. So we're like, okay, well, we have time for a couple more. Let's do it. Let's go back to this.
Let's get this.
I really feel good about this one here. Again, more money down the drain. But the last one, he picks it up, and again, they're so used to it not being anywhere close. They just pick it up and look at it. But he did like a double take. He's like, oh, he almost had it there. Almost had it. And he's like, you want to keep it? I was like, no, fuck. Like, and so we had to leave. But on the way to the show, we ended up stopping at, we have to throw the ball into, what is it, the butter churning?
That's a milk canister.
Milk canister. So there were big stuffed animals available for that as well. So I'm like, oh, all right, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
One try, I got that, and we won this giant fucking dog that I had to like stand in line at Slipknot, like all the way through, and then just all these metalheads hanging around, and just like got this giant big fucking dog. Like,
you guys like Slipknot?
He was like Slipknot, yeah. We're big fans too. And then had the dog like sitting next to us in the show and everything like that. So kept it all the way through. Yeah, it was.
That's funny. My only real Carney story is got rained out in high school baseball game, and I was heading back home, and then I see on the side of the road this fucking group of people. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And it was all the Carnies who were going to the Creston 4th of July celebration, all the Carnies from there. Mm-hmm. And they had to leave. They were kicked out because the governor was stopping by. So they were told to leave.
Can't have these Carney folk.
You can't have all these Carney folk. And okay, so they gave them the afternoon off, and they decided to go fishing at the lake nearby, and ran out of gas. So it's
like a bad setup for a joke.
So they're walking down the road with fucking like pop bottles and
of gas.
No, of just empty shit. And I'm like, and I drive past them, and it was literally like it was a pickup truck, and there was 4 dudes in the front, there's 4 guys in the cab, and literally like 8 to 10 people in the bed of the truck.
Were they taking the canisters to fill up with gas?
So they were walking back to town and go get gas. And I drove past them like, well, that's not good. And me being naive 16-year-old me just
picked up 20
I
Carnies.
just turned right back and I'm like, okay, what? You guys ran out of gas or something? Yeah, man, we did. He's like, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go. Come on, hop in. I'm in my minivan. Yeah, I'll take like 3 or 4 of you guys. Come on, go ahead.
And we never saw Nathan again.
And went and got in gas. They're like, oh man, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it. We had a lot of people drive past, and we're a bunch of sketchy looking dudes. I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong.
You're not wrong, dude.
You're not wrong. When took them, they got the gas and took them back. They're like, hey, you know what? You and your friends, if you want to come ride rides, come over. You guys can do it.
Yeah, man.
But it's like, oh, that's great. Yeah. And then we go over there, and it's like, well, I didn't get like a fucking special handshake or like know anybody's fucking name at all. So it's just me walking around the midway like a jackass. Like
I gave like 4 guys a ride yesterday.
Yeah. I was like, is that the guy? Is that the sketchy guy? No, that's another sketchy guy.
No, they all look the same.
They all look the same. It was funny. I was telling that story like at school, like not at school, but like on the bus to go to the next baseball game and with the softball. And softball girl's like, I saw them and I totally freaked out, and I just kept my eyes straight and just drove right past. I'm like, yeah, that's probably
that's safe.
Pretty girl like you, yeah, that's pretty safe. But just the idea of just filling up the fucking bottles with gas, and that's what they did. It was awesome.
The first time I was ever sent to get gas, my mom sent me with a milk jug to go get gas by myself, and just. Again, never operated a gas pump before in my life. And just like, I guess, I don't know, and exploded. Yeah. Gas went everywhere. Yeah. The attendant came out, I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm getting gas? I don't know. They're like, we have containers that you can put it in. I'm like, okay, this is first for me. So I'm like, fine. But back to Carnies, though. Do you apply to be a Carney? Like, how does one become a Carney? I don't know. I know the life choices that lead up to it.
You've got a rough idea. I don't know. Like, as far as that,
and we're not disparaging it. Being a Carney is much like living in a trailer for me. Like, there's a certain waywardness that I kind of enjoy about.
I'm a big fan of nomadic lifestyles.
Yeah, and I like that your give a shitter is broken, so you don't care. You don't care.
That's life decisions. When you get knocked down, you just gotta let that shit go. I think it's interesting.
But there has to be a piece to that. There has to be a piece.
Right. And just like, I'm sure after like 2 months, 3 months of just getting shit on, like, I bet it, like, and people, treat you like shit. You want to talk about like the worst experiences as far as like customer service.
But I don't think carnies get shit on in person. A lot of people are having fun at a carnival.
You think so until you pay too much and you're not happy with your experience.
The other thing too with carnies is that the retention of the carny seems to be high. Like they
buy in.
There's not a lot of turnover. It seems like. I mean, I'm sure there is turnover,
I bet there's some.
But the longevity of the occupation seems like I'm a carny, been a carny for 25 years. It's like, okay, like,
right.
You must have found some kind of piece. You must have found some type of
something I just can't understand.
Yeah. But I want to know more.
Right. I don't know.
Has there been a good documentary made about carnies?
That's a great question. Is there a good carny movie like that?
Let's look it up.
Like that really explores the life of a carny?
Because I'd watch it.
You'd watch a good carny documentary? If it's the same guy who made Florida Man.
Funny enough, a lot of those guys were carnies.
I was a carny just going around the panhandle for 30 plus years, and then I decided I got to get down to Miami.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's very seasonal work, or it seems nomadic. I think is what
it's nomadic. Yeah.
So,
that's the thing about me. I love a good nomad. Between the Plains Indians, the Gauchos of Brazil, all of them, just really big into a nomadic lifestyle. It's interesting. Carnies.
It looks like Midway Men.
Okay.
And then there's Carney.
Midway Men is only 10 minutes as compared to Carnival, the movie.
Is that the...
I don't know. That's what it's...
I know that. I wonder if that's broken up into pieces.
I don't know. The life of a carny.
Here. Well, let's just look up Carney. How about that?
So
it looks like there's some options. We can do some research. Carney, also spelled Carney, Carnie. It's an informal term used in North America for traveling carnival employee. In the language they use, particularly when the employee operates a game, quotations, joint. I didn't know that. Inside baseball. Food stand, also known as a grap or a
popper.
See, this is the inside baseball that we don't know about.
I like the term showy is used synonymously in Australia.
So if you're
a showy,
I would spend a summer being a showy in Australia.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Yeah, that's a gap year.
Yeah.
I spent a gap year in Australia being a showy. That's a carny for those people.
But that's a story I'd want to fucking hear, right? That's a story I'd give a shit about. Like, tell me about it. Well,
just
so
cruise
Jim
around
the
New
other
South
day,
Wales.
Yeah.
We would cruise around New South Wales. Here's the funny thing. Bill, he used to work for GE, and now he's a carny.
But if you
in Australia.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Bill, he's a showy now, though.
Yeah, it's a showy.
Go on.
Well, you're going to have... My curiosity's been piqued.
Mm-hmm. So, Carnies is a 2007 movie. Is it... That seems like a fictional movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like it's not a real thing.
It's a horror movie.
A 2010 filled with broken links. That looks... God. That's garbage.
This is another movie called Carney in 1980.
Oh,
starring Gary Busey,
Jodie Foster,
Robbie Robertson of the band, and Meg Foster.
Holy shit!
That might be. We might have to add that to the list. That's so weird. Robbie Robertson? Oh, he produced it. Okay, that's still fucking weird.
That's super weird.
Huh. So if you're ever playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, Gary Busey and Jodie Foster were in a 1980 movie about carnies.
Carnies?
So...
Joe Dirt?
I forgot, yeah, Joe Dirt was...
he
was a carny. It's interesting. Oh, well, let's see also Gypsy and Mardi Gras.
Yeah, Gypsies. That's another nomadic lifestyle I'm really into. It's interesting. I don't know. The making of a carnival con artist. Yeah, this is it's a weird...
I would follow... Well, again, much like my writing my great American novel in a trailer park,
You want to write a book?
I want to write the great American novel, and I'm spending time in a trailer park. I've never told you about this.
I mean, I know that you want to live in a trailer park.
But that's why I want to live in a trailer park.
But
I want to write the great American novel.
Oh, you did mention this.
Yeah.
You have mentioned this to me.
Because everyone shows up there for some reason. All these people get to the same place for different reasons.
How do you get to this one point in your life?
Right. And the characters and the relationships that you'd build and meet and why people are there. It's kind of like when a bunch of bad things happen, but something good comes out of it. You never really understand it until you get to be able to step back and look at it. That's the general motif I'm looking for in the great American novel.
Well, you're going to be wrong, though. That's the best part.
Why am I wrong?
Well, because there's no reason why Sam lost his job
There might be.
So and so got cancer, and little Susie got knocked up too young with an abusive wife. Gerald found drugs. It's there's no rhyme or reason.
But those are choices. Some things happen that are, just
It's not Magnolia. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not.
Is that what you want? You want Magnolia set in a trailer park?
Yeah. Can I pitch that?
Can you pitch that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine Magnolia.
Imagine Magnolia
In a trailer park.
A kaleidoscope of characters
Fighting the Chinese government. Yeah, we're gonna have to pass. You had us up until the Chinese government.
The Chinese government. That's when you lost me.
Yeah.
Because that's not good.
Because we got people we got to answer to.
We got it. Listen, do you have any idea how big their box office is? Because it's growing.
Correct.
It's growing, and we're not. So, fuck.
Which is why you can't make movies about things that are controversial. Going back to Judd Apatow's comments, he brought up the interview, and which I haven't seen the entirety of that movie. I thought it was very rough, but
I think I fell asleep in the last 20 minutes.
It seemed like a lot of low-hanging fruit jokes where I thought where you could be. I mean, Seth Rogen and James Franco, and I forget who directed it. Did one of them direct it?
I don't know.
I expected more out of them other than just cheap gags of, Kim Jong-un being, this caricature basically.
Right.
So that's kind of where I was. I was like, again, if you're going to make fun of something that's controversial, do it in a way that at least makes people think, so that you're not opening yourself up to, you're just bigoted. You're just you're a colonizer. Not a colonizer, but it's what I'm saying. Like with South Park, South Park makes fun of everybody and anything. Like I'm really looking forward to the pandemic special they're putting.
Oh, what do you mean? I don't understand.
You don't understand?
Oh, why you're into it so much?
No, because they're going to do it in a nuanced way that's not just like, this is the easy thing to make fun of, so that's why we're going to do it. Yeah. It's going to be more well thought out and everything like that.
Sure. I think I don't know.
That's why I'd like to make a Carney movie and get it right this time.
Listen, no offense to Gary Busey and Jodie Foster, respectively, but you did it wrong. There wasn't enough people with hooks for hands.
No, we got to watch it to be sure. Why Robbie Robertson, though, the guitar player from the band, was producing horror movies, I guess. I mean,
was that a horror movie? Oh, was it a horror movie? You know what? I think I've heard of this movie. The more I think about it.
Why is he producing movies?
That's a good question.
Frankie and Patch.
No. Here's the deal. There's just no way I can
it's a drama.
Force myself to read the description of this movie. I just I get 2 sentences and I'm like, nope,
can't
I'm done. Fucking do it. Fred Ward was in it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it might be worth it to watch just for Fred Ward because I love that guy.
It includes an early role for Fred Ward.
Oh, man.
So this is something, we have some homework to do for the podcast. We've got to watch this. Got to try to find a good Carney documentary, and if not, add another project to our project list.
Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars out of 4.
It's fair. He's dead, right?
Yes,
okay.
He's dead.
Good.
And so is Gene Siskel.
Can close that book.
Can close that book. No, it's...
No one's really taken their spot, by the way, of being movie critics.
Yeah, there's Roper. What was the guy's name?
So you don't even know his name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Because he replaced Gene Siskel.
Mm-hmm. But no one cares anymore.
Right. Well, people are only listening to...
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes.
You don't like Rotten Tomatoes, do you?
They do their weighted. It's weighted wrong. Like, it's like too... I don't know. What's the word? How do I want to say this? Like, it's...
Just know you'll be held to this forever, by the way.
It's not like it's... It has like a weird weighted to it. Like, weight to it. And I don't...
You think there's advertisers involved?
Sure. It's my opinion. You should find a movie reviewer.
So people are... advertisers are paying Rotten Tomatoes to give them a better review. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I'm asking. What you're saying?
No, I don't. No, it's as far as like how like the scoring system works.
Mm-hmm.
It's
an algorithm.
It's an algorithm. Also, like I'm trying to remember. Like if you speak somewhat favorably of a movie, like then it gets a positive. Like it, because everybody's reviewing system. Mm-hmm. My thumbs up or my star levels aren't necessarily completely congruent with their percentages.
So I remember a few years ago when Get Out came out.
Yeah.
It was 100% Rotten Tomatoes. They were using it in the advertisement. They were using it in the trailer.
Yes.
Do you think there's any influence that the studio or advertising has over Rotten Tomatoes to be able to use it and in a very use it with an authoritative voice? It's like so. Because there was a percentage of people that went out to see that movie because Rotten Tomatoes had it at 100%, which is a very rare mark in the general public's eyes.
It's weird, like the whole certified fresh thing. I don't like it. No, I'm trying to remember because I had a whole list of why I didn't like Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. I was like more of a fan of Metacritic, or I don't remember. I would use.
You're not answering my question, by the way.
No, how much pressure is put on there? I'm sure, like if you go to a junket and you get wined and dined, and you're more likely, and those people don't have they can put out their review all at once, and people who weren't invited to the junket, their reviews don't get added until later. I don't know. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. My thing is, this is my opinion. Find a movie reviewer who you identify as has similar likes and tastes as you, and listen to them.
Just like the internet.
Just like
politics and everything else. Just find the person that you agree with everything.
I see movies the same way this person sees movies. So if we have similar tastes in movies, and if they say it's a good movie, then I'll watch it. But if they say, "Ooh, you know what? I found this to be boring and I can't stand it," then I'm not going to watch it.
But going back to the Rotten Tomatoes, and I agree with the sentiment. And first off, when you're looking for a new movie, it's always really nice to have someone that you can trust to be like, watch this movie. Yeah, a lot of people have it with friends. You're not one of them in my world, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I'm never watching Snowpiercer. Okay.
You should, do yourself a favor. You still haven't watched Snowpiercer?
I'm joking. No, I've been way too busy.
What are you talking about? What have you been doing? The hell's just Saturday. Come on.
You didn't watch 2 days or 6 days to air, so.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. So I'm not that for you, and you're not that for me. But anyway, the with Rotten Tomatoes, though, you don't think there's advertisers or studios coming down and being like, "Hey, we're going to pitch this. We really like this to be 100% certified fresh." Because I've noticed there are certain movies where you're like, that's garbage. How is it certified fresh already?
I think that's more of.
You don't think there's any nefarious oh yeah, we'll work out a deal.
I think that's done more on the individual level with the reviewers itself, not so much with Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes
there's the critic score and the audience score. Those are two separate different things. Those
are two separate things, and the only thing that really matters initially is the critic score.
Yeah, that's where I'm saying that's the entry to influence.
Yeah,
that's where people can get into it and be like, yeah, well, we have this deal, we figured this out, and I remember Get Out, I think, was the first one that I remember seeing that used it in an advertisement.
You don't like Get Out?
No, I love Get Out.
Okay.
I'm not racist at all. I love Get Out. But it was the first one that I saw use the certified fresh 100% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I think, what was it? Lady Bird also did it as well.
Oh, yeah.
It was the first time I saw.
Did you like Lady Bird?
Yeah. Yeah, Lady Bird was good.
So you like certified fresh movies. Okay. That's what I'm hearing.
Two of them, I guess, yeah. Lady Bird was good, yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked, what's her face from Roseanne? Laurie Metcalf.
Laurie Metcalf.
I thought she was fantastic.
What was the movie where she was a stripper? Oh, Far From Home. A movie I need to watch.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see Laurie Metcalf as a stripper, but...
Even in the movie starring Richard Gere, taking place in Worthington, Iowa?
That's a whole nother podcast.
Laurie Metcalf. I'm like, holy shit, Laurie Metcalf's in this?
Yeah. That's another documentary.
And Brian Dennehy?
That's another documentary. That we can't even get into it. We can't even tease everybody.
Oh, my God. Far From Home, which is basically the same plot as Hell or High Water, by the way.
We have way too many things on our plate before we get into it.
I got just too many projects.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to find a passion about one of them. I don't know what it is, but one of them.
Well, Dwyer Brown. We can...
Just Dwyer Brown.
Dwyer Brown.
Hey, Dwyer, can you just call me up? I just want to bounce some ideas off you.
Gotta bounce some ideas. We'll make it happen. We'll
Yeah.
make it happen. And at the end of the day...
Yeah, this could be a podcast.
Yeah. We'll have more Dwyer Brown updates next week. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. Be sure to give us a Dwyer Brown quote for our Apple Review podcast, and check us out on YouTube as well. Anything else I'm missing, Nathan?
Just do yourself a favor and just hammer Dwyer Brown on Cameo. I'm sure he'll appreciate not only the money, but the fact that we remember that he exists as a person.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Also, check us out on YouTube. And while you're on YouTube, go ahead and just search for Dwyer Brown and see what else he's been up to. I'm sure it's been a lot. Or watch the trailer for Carney. Who knows?